Welcome back, Kings. We have another benevolent, extravagant podcast for you guys today. Now, I have some Kings with me today, a whole pack of them. We just got done with a several-hour-long airsoft war in the middle of the dark. It's currently 9:21, and we've been out for a very long time, and it was very cool. And so, quickly, just go around. What's your name?
Peyton.
Peyton.
Peyton, too.
Peyton.
JT.
JT.
And Tommy.
Tommy.
And Jaden.
And Jaden. Okay. So, yeah, we've just been chilling, hanging out. So we want to talk about space with you guys. Space to me is very interesting. You know, we had the grand space race in 1969, and before that, 1969, of course, we landed on the moon. That was kind of the conclusion of the space race when we landed on the moon. And kind of beat Russia in a sense. Because, of course, what I talked about in my first podcast, we were beating Russia in the space race initially. No, they were beating us initially is what I meant. Of course, they had the first man in space. They had the first satellite in orbit. So, kind of, what's your take on space, Peyton? You can hold it.
Very creepy. If you think about it, NASA did start with... right there. Yeah. NASA did start with ocean. We've only discovered like 5% of it, and then they quickly, for some reason, went to space for the rest of their career. Space is, it's big. There's like no ending to
Never
it.
Ends.
There's millions of galaxies that collide. Cool, like the pillars of formation. Really cool formations of really weird. Recently NASA has spotted a question mark in space, which I found on TikTok and all over the internet. There's like
TikTok.
But also, if you think about it, there are millions of stars out in the sky that form certain animals and beasts and stuff from all sorts of things like that.
Right, of course, yeah. It's like, and it's one of those things that just goes on forever. Because like, I was just like, while we were out, we were camping out in the pasture, like waiting for to find the other guys. And I was looking at space, and I saw a satellite going across. And the way you spot a satellite is they don't blink like an airplane. They don't blink, and they go so quickly across the sky. That's how you can, and they're so high.
Yeah, I think me and JT were laying up on the trench, and I saw something quickly shoot across the sky. I was like, I didn't know if that was a meteor or if that was a...
We saw some stuff.
And it's so interesting, like the life cycle of stars too. Like, it's like, because like a star, like they're so hot, and then like supernovas, when they explode, they have so much power they can even generate new stars and nebula. And if you don't know, a nebula is like a region of space where stars are created and where stars thrive. And then like there's this thing called a black dwarf where we don't even know if it exists yet, which is theoretically supposed to be a dead star, which is like so think about it, stars you can fit thousands of Earths into a bigger star, and a black dwarf is supposed to be a dead star, and they're only supposed to be a few miles in radius. But we don't even know if there's any dead stars in existence today. We don't know if the universe is that old. So there's just so much. There's just so much interesting stuff about space. So what does anybody think about black holes?
Big hole black.
Big black.
Big black hole.
It's pretty cool how they actually move. They can move with a giant cloud of dust around them with other planets and galaxies, or they could just be one big black circle that's moving, and stuff looks like it's warping. It looks like it's a warping time. It's basically a warping time thing.
Mm-hmm.
No light can actually escape a black hole. So basically, if there are two theories to if you fell in. Number one is actually three. Let's stick with three. The first one I think is some people think it's a portal to like another world, like another universe, but we never know. Never been sucked in one personally, so wouldn't be here right now. Number two is called spaghettification. Actually, it's where your body will stretch like a thin noodle because of how much gravity it's pulling on you. It'll basically smash your bones completely and stretch you. Number three is you will actually freeze in time, since there is you'd basically just probably... I'm sticking with that one, with the, you freezing in time. Yeah.
I got a question. So, if you're, like, on a planet or something, or if, like... What if you jump off, not on a planet, like, just in space in general? Would you just sit there and float?
Jump off what?
Like, you wouldn't really be able to jump...
Like, jump off an airplane in space?
Maybe something like that. But like
So-
you're just like in space, not on a planet, and you're just floating.
Well,
So
the
Would
thing
you just, like,
the thing
plummet to
about
Earth?
the thing about space. So if I take this pin and I drop this pin, it stops because the ground stops it because of gravity. Well, in space there is no gravity. So if I'm in space and I throw this pin, the pin's not going to stop unless some outside force stops the pin. This is why satellites can orbit the Earth forever, because they have momentum initially when they get into the outer atmosphere, but they're not so far out. They have enough gravity to keep them close to the Earth, but it's not enough to put. It's not. They have enough gravity to keep them close to the Earth, but it's not enough to suck them completely to the Earth's surface. So this is how satellites orbit the Earth. And I was just telling my little brother about this, because you take a satellite, and this is why they don't need engines, because if you just get the momentum, the momentum will keep going forever, because there is no friction, because there's no gravity. Without gravity, there's no friction. So it'll just keep going forever and ever. And another thing about black holes is, of course we know, light travels faster than sound. And so of course, sometimes if you look at an airplane going faster than the speed of sound in the air, it'll be right here, like in the sky, but when you hear the sound will sound like it's coming from over here. That's because it's outrunning its sound, and the sound is coming to you later than the sound is being created. And so, black holes,
They're black.
which is interesting. Yes.
Yes.
A lot of things are black.
We have confirmed they're black.
And so...
No, they're actually red.
So, sound has speed, but also light has speed. But the interesting thing about black holes is their gravity is so strong, they capture sound, light, in even time, which is so extremely fascinating to me, that their gravitational pull is so strong that it can warp time. So, like, imagine, like, the sheer amount of force and power that it would need to warp time. Like, it's like, imagine like being there in space, like observing like a black hole. That would be just totally insane to me. And I feel like we're at a time in history where like we can explore space and learn more about space than we ever could before, especially with the James Webb telescope going around now. We can get a lot of cool pictures from that. And so, what's your take on alternate dimensions?
Ooh. Peyton, you got anything about alternate dimensions?
What
I mean, we don't know. There could be
Define alternate.
I mean,
that mean?
there could be life forms out there.
Different from ours.
I mean, if you think about it, there are many things. There are some pictures of the rover on Mars that has caught some weird looking things. I mean, you can never trust the internet, obviously. But if you really think about it, take the ocean, for example. There are some weird things down there in the ocean. Now imagine space.
I just want to say one thing. The rover on Mars, Rip Lowe bro, he sung himself happy birthday.
Anyway, but also think about this. The thing on Earth that we are also dealing with is the heaven and the hell part, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, ghosts, spirits, all of that. If there are definitely, weird creatures that could be alive.
I have a lot of... Actually, I have a story I'll tell after this about a ghost story.
Ghosts, I mean, if you believe in ghosts, you may believe in other things, but I mean, are we supposed to know? I mean, what do you think Mars was before it was the red, before it was just a thing of iron and rust? It mostly had water, because the ice caps have water underneath them, and if those melt, you'll have water. But there could be things out there, because in our everyday life, we're stuck here on Earth, right? Our gravity, our gravity's keeping us on that bed or keeping us walking in the grass. Now imagine walking every day on a planet, a different planet. There could be other life forms that we may not know. There could be shuttles. There could be any other aircraft. I mean, also, you have to think about this. People can mistake extraterrestrial stuff for actually pieces of shuttle, because there has been things up there that's been smashed by asteroids.
A lot of space junk out there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff that hurtles. You never know. There could be a satellite that got bashed by an asteroid. You never know.
Right.
We're stuck down here in a room in an enclosed area. Who knows what could be happening up way up there? And space is just an empty void. It's nothing. Like if it's like, take for example, I'm looking out a window. I can't see anything. Now imagine space, but being surrounded by little white dots. You can try to look as far as you can, and you'll still see darkness. So you never know what could be out there, kind of like the ocean.
It's brutally insane. Like, the idea of being stuck deep in space and stuck completely like in the darkness of the ocean are equally scary to me, I feel like. Yeah. they're equally scary. Now, ghosts. I believe in ghosts personally. I believe in heaven and hell. I believe Christ died for our sins, and I believe that there is something beyond the physical. And my grandmother's house, there's a lot of strange things that happen at my grandmother's house.
Sir,
For instance, I don't know any of your guys' experience with ghosts, but for me, once my grandfather, he walked into his house, and on the fireplace he saw this apparition. There was a child's puzzle on the fireplace, and he saw this apparition move the puzzle 3 feet to the other side of the fireplace. Once I stayed the night upstairs in the room, and usually between 12 and 3 in the morning, you can hear people talking in the hallways, just back and forth, like having conversations. You can't.
Stop shooting.
You can't.
We want safety.
You can't understand what they're saying, but you can hear people talking. Like for sure. Like 12 to 3 in the morning. Like usually, if it's up there, you can hear like da 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 da, like people going back and forth, different forces, and it's super crazy. And one time that happened, and the next morning I walked out. The room I was in, the door handle on the other side had been ripped off the door and was on the whole other side of that room. And my aunt once, she was and so they brought a priest in, and they started saging the place every now and again. It's okay now, but my aunt, before they did that, she would sleep, and then the fan would start to spin by itself so much that it would start to shake, like almost shake out of the wall. And then once, like a lot of the times, they would feel like these things crawl into the bed. Like they would feel like things like putting pressure on the bed, that's just like my and like that's just kind of like my personal. What do you think?
Well, she used to feel like people pushing her down and sucking the energy out of her.
Yes, very very scary stuff. And so I definitely believe in things that aren't always as they seem. And also I have this friend. He was working on an oil rig. This isn't a ghost story, but he was working on an oil rig, and he was way up high, and he was looking over this pasture, and he saw this thing that was like striding, and as it strided, it took like 8 foot long strides. It was scooping up, and it was grabbing these rabbits. He said it looked like it was grabbing rabbits, and then it would take off into the woods. And so he thinks he saw Bigfoot. So what are your guys' take on like cryptid beings like Bigfoot, Wendigos, ghosts,
So
the rake?
some people like think when they hear Wendigo, they're like, oh no, that's not real. You're just trying to pull my leg. What a Wendigo and like what a skinwalker is, it's Navajo culture. So it's not obviously going to be in not everyone's going to think it's real, unless you're Navajo, because the Navajos actually, it is thought that they created the skinwalker as sort of a fairy, like a tale to talk to each other at camps and all that. It's kind of like a story, kind of like how Bigfoot. The only thing we have evidence of Bigfoot is, like in my opinion, the clearest is that what was it, Buff or Bluff Creek? I think it was Bluff Creek, where two cowboys were riding horses, and they got a picture and a video of an ape that seemed, it wasn't hostile. It was pretty, chill, just strolling around, and they walked. But we also have cast prints. But also, the thing about Bigfoot is, we have two theories. It could be, a man in a suit. That's been a theory.
Yeah.
That's been a theory ever since, I first heard about it. Number two, it could be an escaped, ape from somewhere. But also, if you think about it, Wendigos and all of that are not just mythical, but they're culture-based. So maybe only Navajos can really see them, and no one else can. Like, some people can see shadows, and some people can't.
Right.
Because some people have, and I do have and I think it's something's trying to tell me, is whenever we do talk about ghost stuff, you kind of get, your eyes get watery, and you kind of feel that emotion. That's me telling you that, that person is feeling something. They feel it's real. But also, with the things out there in the woods is, I just live in like a small state of Oklahoma, so it's not that big of a state. So, there's a whole lot of forest everywhere in California. I don't know about Florida. You've been to Florida, haven't you? Have you? Is there any forest areas down there?
Not very much, but there's some.
So there's probably going to be no really Bigfoot sightings in Florida. Maybe Texas, definitely.
I was going to say, I went to California one time up in Johnson Valley. It was for an off-roading event, but it was in the night, and we were just sleeping. We had not even a tent. It was just on a campfire. And I remember looking around after my dad fell asleep, and I kept seeing people, and it was weird because there wasn't anyone around, but it was like a big event, but there was no people around, and I just kept seeing shadow figures.
Oh, that's weird.
So also,
it's in the middle. It's in the middle of California, valley, in the mountains, dunes.
I wouldn't doubt if it's in the mountains.
So also, if you think about it, Wendigos and Bigfoots, they're not like humans. They don't put on cologne before they walk around and stuff. They're gonna leave this wrench. Because I have actually, I listen to Skinwalker stories when I go to sleep because it just helps me go to sleep. I'm psychotic. Pretty psychotic.
How does that help you?
Psychotic.
But they said in every video, in every story, that it gives off a dead animal, like a dead human smell, like a dead carcass. It
smells bad, but
it smells like something's been dead for, something's dragging a dead body everywhere they go. They have smelled, body fluids or something like that, or just rotten flesh. It's also what they call a flesh gate. But skinwalkers actually they're shapeshifters. And I know when some people think of shapeshifters, they think of trolls. Skinwalkers are not trolls. Trolls are more of a Shrek-looking thing, in my opinion. But skinwalkers actually take the form of dogs, cats, other people. So if you're out in the woods by yourself and you hear someone cry for help, don't be a good Samaritan and go help. Just forget it. Leave them to die, is what I'm saying. Just leave them be. The random coyote will pick them off or something. But,
I got a ghost story to share.
But skinwalkers take the form of things, and Wendigos and skinwalkers are not the same thing. Skinwalkers shapeshift, Wendigos don't. They're like deer-looking things. But if you guys,
I got one more thing on the Wendigos before you can tell your story after this. So another thing on Wendigos is so I heard this thing that so of course the Indians went through a lot of trauma because in 1492, Columbus made the first of 4 trips. In 1492, Columbus discovered the Americas, essentially, and then in 1620, the Pilgrims from Plymouth, England, started coming over here, and then after that, once we started colonizing America, the Indians, we brought over smallpox, which killed a lot of Indians, and then also the Cherokee Trail of years, hundreds of years later, and then eventually, essentially, we stole all the Indians' land, and so a lot of Indians died because of us coming over here, and it was really traumatic for them. So I believe in demon possessions because I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus and the 12 apostles casted out. So I believe that demons can be casted out, and the Bible, if they are casted out, I believe Jesus casted out demons, and I believe the 12 apostles casted out demons, and I believe that the Wendigo. I heard something that the Wendigos that is something that the Navajo created. That it was this tool used by the Indians that they would do this sort of ritual, and they would invite these spirits into them, and then they would take the form of this deathly creature. So that's also a theory that I have, that it's that the Wendigo is like a severe demon possession. I feel like could be a possibility, but that's just another theory I have on.
And I have one quick thing to add before that.
Yeah, that's
Speaking of cultures of Indian, Navajo, and stuff. Also, I just wanted to put on the Aztecs going missing.
Oh, the
Aztecs. I didn't know if you know this, but it does revolve around cryptids, but. The one thing I want the most is an Aztec death whistle. If you ever hear that,
could you explain?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this man an Aztec death whistle.
Yes, please. I live at approximately yes. Just ship it to that address.
He needs it to sleep, guys.
Yes, I know where you all live.
He needs to do it. He needs to use it one time, and then he can sleep like a baby.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, they use that death whistle to scare off enemies to make it sound like people are screaming, kind of to, it's like a warrior call. Now, dude, you just getting up so quietly. Skinwalkers also are known, and Wendigos are also known for making weird sounds to attract something, not to scare them away. He's special. He's something else. They're like mimics. They mimic sounds to, attract people or other animals to take the form of them. And skinwalkers were actually believed to be Navajo Indians wearing wolf clothing to go hunt sheep, because they would get on all fours and pretend to be a wolf to go hunt, to gain, to just hang out with the sheep, and then they'll. Dude, if that bed breaks, that bed snaps.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
But I mean, you said you had a story, Mr. Bathrobe Guy.
Yes.
Okay, my fellow friends.
I won.
Imagine a house in the middle of a street with nobody on the block for miles around. It's midnight, and you're walking along, and all of a sudden, you see this deathly figure creep along behind you. You turn around, and it disappears. You keep walking again, and it comes back. And then all of a sudden, it just runs off into this house that's in the middle of nowhere. This happened to me one day as I was over at a cousin's of mine. We were riding bikes down the road, and this little ghostly figure came up behind us. It just became dark. And that's what happened. We just about died from that accident. Luckily, it has never happened again.
Wow. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Ooh, I got a little tiny one.
Oh, I got plenty.
So this is actually, I don't remember the YouTuber, but I bet. I got a question for you, Ethan.
Yes.
Do you, when you post these, and if you're about to talk about another person's story,
Right.
would you put it their link in the description, or do you do that stuff?
Sometimes if they have a social media platform.
So this right quick is a sum up of a story that I listened to. I didn't know if you want to put their. I'll show you the channel before
Okay.
you do it. I didn't know if you want. I didn't want it
For sure.
to be copyrighted.
For sure.
But there was a Skinwalker story where these group of boys were going out. They were playing airsoft, actually. And so what do you think happens? JT,
What?
I got a question for you. What do you think happens when you're out in the middle of the forest and you hear birds chirping, right? Everything, it's a nice evening. And then what happens? What do you think happens if everything just goes quiet?
There's some around.
That means
I was kind of scared when he was talking about earlier when we were playing airsoft. He's talking about how he's a dead cow laying in the
This is
pasture.
a dead cow. Yeah.
I was scared of going over there and possibly seeing
something
figure.
something just
maybe eating
hunched over, just trying, just ripping intestines
Something
away.
like that. I smell. We got close to it. I think.
I can just imagine because I was alone out there because I had this sniper gun. And I can imagine walking up on the, because it's a dead steer that we had to haul up. I can imagine just something hunched over, just ripping,
starting just digging in it, ripping, and then something just gets up, looks at you,
and then it rips around and looks at you,
and you
it's
just hear
intestines hanging out its mouth.
You just hear a blood curdling, just hiss or growl or.
Oh, that would suck.
Or scream. But also, so the story was their airsoft. So basically, if you're out in the woods, here's a tip. If you're out in the woods by yourself and everything was quiet, a big predator is nearby. That'd be a mountain lion, coyote, wolf, anything. It doesn't matter. A predator's a predator. Anything that eats prey is a predator.
Or me.
Or him. It could be him. It could be him. He's about to walk in there and choke slam you. He's going to give you an elbow drop. But, so they were airsofting, and they have a tree fort. So they walked up to the tree fort, and they looked down, and they saw this weird deer thing. It was like a half man, half, had a deer skull on it, and it was starting to climb up the ladder.
Ain't no way.
But, I mean, this is also on YouTube.
Oh, bro, that would be so scary.
Yeah, so they were stuck up in the tree fort, and this was up in the trees, as the thing finally found where they were. So he sent, actually, his little brother down there to go to the house to get their grandpa. Their grandpa came out, And as soon as it started climbing, they saw his flashlight. He started running, and the flashlight dropped. So they thought that whatever was out there might have caught him and ate him or turned into him or something. But he actually, as soon as it started climbing up the ladder, and they started all screaming, they heard gunshots, and they figured out that their grandpa came out with a rifle and shot it, and it ran away. Obviously, it's a skinwalker. It's not going to die if you shoot it.
Maybe it could have been a mountain lion.
It's a mountain lion would have... No, they can't really...
I don't think they can climb up ladders.
Yeah, they can't climb up ladders like that.
Can,
it's a straight-up vertical ladder. Like, there's no way they're going to climb up.
Not like... But they can also grab the whole...
What was that mountain lion on?
Yeah, but that mountain lion would have been on steroids for it to curl its way up there.
If it was sitting there...
No, it had to have like a... Fingers, because there's no articulation in the thumbs. They have paws.
Could have just been Tyrone Biggums.
Getting Kobe Bryant.
But
It was probably
so they figured out that the little boy did make it home, and they did call it, and it just ran off in the woods, and they never went out there to play airsoft again.
Wait, was it near Halloween or Christmas?
Well, all these were near Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
Have you ever heard?
No, we're not doing that.
There will be he will take your. He's big. He will take your candy. His name's
So, what else would you like to talk about? I'll let you
Let's
take
let
it
the
away.
other two kids
I'll
tell
let you
stories.
take it
You
away.
guys have anything to say?
I'm good.
Hey, soon enough we
Tommy?
What about you? You got anything? Anybody?
Not really anything, no.
So, didn't you say that, like, you did have experience with at least something? Because I remember... So, I do actually have it's a small one.
Yeah.
So, I actually, what a convenience, I was on FaceTime with my friend, and she was, we were talking, and she said, hey, I heard this thing about Skinwalker, what is that? Because she knows I know what that is, because I like talking about ghosts and demons, and I don't like demons, but they're fascinating to learn about.
I know what you're talking about.
But,
What story you're talking about.
But, because I think I told you one time. Yeah. But we were talking, and see how my eyes are getting watery? So I was talking about the Wendigo and the Skinwalker, and as soon as I heard...
It smells like dead meat here.
Wait.
Don't even, bro.
You know what? You might be one.
If anyone was a Skinwalker in here...
No, I have...
Hey, didn't you, like, text me or call me one night saying that, like, you heard your mom outside your door? And I instantly said, do not open the door. You said your mom wasn't home that night.
Yeah.
And you heard outside the door your mom saying, what'd she say? Like, I need to come in, or...
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he actually heard his mom. Here, I'll let him take the floor because he's had the experience.
So it was like around,
And then
my
I've done
mom
some-
was going on like a business trip or something. And it was just me and my dog
By the way,
at
his
my
dog's name is
house.
Pumpkin, and
My
she
dog's
is
name
a
is
very
Pumpkin, and
good
she's crazy, but I love her. And my mom and my stepdad were both out doing something. I think they were out drinking and having fun with one of their friends. And I was tired, so I went to bed. But all of a sudden, I hear my dog walking around, and I'm like, Pumpkin's locked in her kennel. There's no way she got out. And then I hear my mom say my name, and I'm like, they're still away. And I like had my phone on me, so I checked my Life 360, and it showed that they were still out, not at the house. And so I'm like, this don't seem right. Something's up here. And it was like 1 or 2 nights after Peyton had told me about the Wendigos and Skinwalkers and how they'll like be able to take the form of anything. And so I called him and I was like, hey, there's something up here. And he said, don't answer your door, don't do anything.
Keep your
And
window
then-
locked, keep your blinds down, get on the bed, and just...
And I just wasn't sure because I was like,
Do you have a lock on your door?
no.
Okay, what I was about to say was actually either sit your dresser in front of your door, or you sit there. I mean, it's obviously probably going to bust through the door. But they probably won't open the door because they want to mess with you.
It didn't open the door or anything, but it was creepy. I mean, it was like I heard Pumpkin's like feet pitter pattering, and then I was like, oh no, she's in her kennel. And then I heard my mom's voice like say, hey Tommy, it's like, you know, I need to come in for something. And I'm like, they're still at the vortex. They're not home.
And notice
So-
that you knew where they were at. You
Yeah,
just named
it
the
was-
place they were at.
It was terrifying.
That's freaking scary.
So I actually do
bro.
have a tiny story. And Jaden, you'll know this one
Mom
about when Jessica was here.
Oh, yeah.
So when our cousin Jessica moved in, because I don't know if she had a place to move in at the moment. I think she was moving jobs. She did work at Hobby. She works at Hobby Lobby. If you don't know what that is, convenience store, or not just convenience store, but now she works at a casino called Seven Clans. But she actually came to stay with us for a while. I mean, just having my little brother in my room sleeping with me was just torturous by itself. He wouldn't shut up. But especially when he gets the top bunk. But she was actually one night. She's addicted to chocolate milk. So as every she's addicted to chocolate milk. So she went out to actually go steal our chocolate milk. If you're watching this, I will find you. You stole our chocolate milk. This is a message. I am wearing a tactical vest with an OSU hoodie. That's his, by the way. Thank you. I'm warm as a skinwalker in a new body. But I mean, I could be one. I don't, meow meow.
Suspect.
Start spazzing out. Then I'll jump out the window and start crawling away on all fours.
We'll throw you out the window before you.
A skinwalker.
What I was about to say was she actually went out to go get a drink of
Cocoa milk.
I was about to say Mountain Dew. She don't drink that. I drink that. Chocolate milk. And she turned around and saw a figure walk down the hallway to my room. Why my room? Question mark. She was like, oh, that's just Peyton. He's up. It's like 12 o'clock. It's like about 3 o'clock in the morning. They're usually always up. I was actually asleep. I was asleep because I'm not always up at 3 in the morning.
Maybe you should.
Not always.
Not always. Because I know what happens during that hour, and I don't like to sometimes be up at that hour for that reason, because I watch scary videos before I go to bed. So I don't like being up at that hour because I feel connected to things. So I was asleep, and she went to go check on Jade and Kirsten, which is my brother and sister, by the way. They were fast asleep, too. And then she just went to bed. But it went to my room. Why?
Because you're the creepiest person in the freaking house, brother. Take that as a compliment.
I think my dogs are, but... but honestly, she did see another one, but it was broad daylight. So if you see a spirit in broad daylight, not good. But she said she saw something walk to the... actually, it sprinted from the front door to the fireplace, and she had me go demonstrate. My mom and her were in the kitchen. She called me out of my room to go demonstrate because I was not in there.
I don't mess with those sprinting spirits.
She had me run, and the thing that got me was she said it was taller than me. She said it was taller, and I said, there ain't no way. And then, there ain't no way nothing's taller than me that sprinted in the house. And my dad's not that much taller. I'm about up to him. And he can't really, I bet he can't sprint that fast. She said it sprinted pretty quick. But also, here's another thing. It was kind of creeping me out when we were out there. We kind of got too close to them horses over there. We didn't see them till we heard them.
Oh yeah, there's horses out.
We saw them, and they started charging around. They circled us, kind of. Started circling us, and I was like, watch one of them get up on two legs and just stand there.
Doing the boogie woogie?
No, just watch one stand on there, and just watch its head. Just watch its head tilt, and you just hear like its neck just break, and it just tilts. But we were like, hey, we need to. I mean, I know they're horses, and they're not always. They're not going to come kill us. But I was like, hey, we need to kind of leave them alone a little bit. I don't want to get too close to them. We are holding rifles.
Oh yeah, that was scary. I thought one of
Yeah, because we saw like a big giant creature. But
I
pointed
it out. I was scared.
We didn't have the lights on until JT said, "Hey, I think I see something moving." And I turned on the light, and we see a big white horse right in front of us. I'm like, "Oh, we need to back off."
You couldn't even see the horse. I just
That's funny.
Until we turned on the light, we saw some.
I should have told you guys.
No. I remember during the day, when we were coming in, I first saw horses in the back, and then when we saw them at night.
As soon as it gets dark, things change.
I was like, "Hey, wait, that's the horses they have." Oh, okay. So this was just the horses, because I remembered that there was horses.
And I kind of got a little weird feeling walking near that barn.
Oh yeah, that barn's
That
scary.
barn was built in 19.
Yeah, I got a weird feeling walking near that barn at night.
That barn was built in 1939.
Jesus.
Dang, like we were walking out there in the daytime, I felt nothing. But as soon as we passed that at nighttime, I kept looking at it as I walked by.
It's an old barn, dude.
I mean, I'm not saying anything could have. I mean,
Dude, it's got history, dude. It's old.
most buildings do, and also
I've buried a lot of pets and stuff there.
Pet cemetery in real life.
But also, so there's a town in Oklahoma. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Oklahoma. It's a town. I think it's Tonkawa. There is a police department in Tonkawa.
Been there.
No, and it's mixed with the fire department. It was an old fire department. There is. Do you know the ghost named Frank? That's there. So there is actually a firefighter that died. And his name is Frank. They're police officers. You know how police officers like to pull pranks on each other. I mean, they have nothing better to do. They'd sit there and take reports. Obviously, it's a long, sad, just depressing job. But they're sitting there, and they think, hey, and they're up there alone upstairs. Upstairs is their report writing room, so they're writing reports. And the chief of police went up there and said, hey, I think there's somebody messing with me, because he can hear footsteps. He says, like, hey, there's somebody's going to try to scare me. He went up there, he checked the whole perimeter. He was the only one there in the whole entire police department. Everyone else was out on patrol. So they figured out that a firefighter actually died in the house trying to fight fires, and his spirit stays in the fire department because that was his favorite place to be, was the fire department. So there is a firefighter named Frank. So when we actually did... Tommy, you were there with us, too. You were there with us because you're in the same class as I am, so you were on that field trip. I kind of felt a little bit of a thing. Because I didn't know if you noticed, but I was actually...
when they said it?
No, I was actually in the back holding my chest because I actually kind of felt... some people say when you walk in, you can feel something.
Sometimes, like, if you walk into a room, like, you just know because it's, like, the air.
That energy.
It's almost like static.
Yes. And actually, my friend actually did take a tour of that place, Tommy. He said he felt like his chest was burning. Like, he felt burning on his arm. Because what does a firefighter do? They go inside and fight fires. Well, he died in the fire. I think that's what they said. Right? Isn't that what they said?
I think so.
Like, he died in a fire, or he died fighting the fire, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, something fell on him, or choked him out or something. But, I mean, firefighters, but also if you think about a fire that's why they wear gas masks. Because that gas is poisonous. I mean, it could be poisonous. I mean, it's a fire mixed with wood, and it's mixed with, a bunch of, like, maybe cooking stuff, too, that's inside of a kitchen. Anything's basically flammable. Basically, if it's in the kitchen, any oil, like olive oil, cooking oil, anything like that, could be caught on fire. I mean, adding water, I think it's cooking or like olive oil or something like that, oil and water, you can make a fire. I forgot what kind of type fire is it? Like a type C,
Are you
type
talking about
A?
a grease fire?
Yeah, that'd be like
Type C.
that'd be type C fire or
Type C or Type D.
I got no idea.
I mean,
You could.
could ask what?
My dad's a firefighter.
But there you go.
So, in that old barn that he was just talking about, I actually found an old rusty wrench.
Wow, an old rusty wrench. Alright, how are we doing on time, you guys?
Yeah.
We're about it. I gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta go in like a minute.
Alright. Well, this was very nice. I think I definitely want to do this again, especially with you. You got some good things to say. And
My name is Fade Donut 2958 on Xbox if you want to play Fortnite later or Call of Duty
hey, donut. Alright, boys.
Maybe.
Peace out, kings.
I will find you.
We're on your side.